Big story today, the Corporate Transparency Act was just ruled unconstitutional. Welcome back, this is the Business Guy, and today we're diving into some hot button legislation, the Corporate Transparency Act, or CTA. This one's been making headlines recently, especially after a court ruling in Alabama. So buckle up because we're about to unpack the who, what, when, and why of the beneficial ownership information in the fight for transparency, as well as the fight for your privacy. And I'm going to keep you up to date as things progress, so be sure to subscribe or follow for more updates. So what is the Corporate Transparency Act? As a reminder, imagine a business where the government really doesn't know quite who really is in charge. The CTA aimed to change that. Passed in 2021, it required many businesses to report their beneficial owners. That is, the real people with 25% or more of the ownership, significant control over, or significant economic benefit from the company, to a government agency called FinCEN. This applies to entities such as corporations and LLCs that are filed with the Secretary of State or a U.S. Indian tribe. So some claim this would help fight money laundering, terrorist financing, and other shady activities. So why the Alabama court ruling? Now fast forward to March 1st, 2024, a federal court in Alabama throws a curveball. They ruled that the CTA is unconstitutional. Hallelujah. The judge argued that the law isn't justified by Congress's legal powers. Basically, they said the government couldn't force businesses to reveal this information. And frankly, I'm jumping for joy because in the company formation business, we have thousands upon thousands of these reports we need to file, which is basically a repeat of what is typically reported on the tax returns anyway, with a few, in my opinion, irrelevant differences. If the bad guy is going to lie, he's going to lie in the form too, in spite of the penalties for doing so. So this is a big bureaucratic pain in the backside for law-abiding business owners, in my opinion. So what does this mean for businesses? So hold on. This doesn't mean that you're off the hook. Not quite yet. Here's the catch. The ruling only applies to the specific plaintiff in the case called the National Small Business Association and its members that were members March 4th, 2024 and before, plus a specific member named Isaac, who I just communicated with today. For everyone else, the CTA technically remains in effect, and the government says they'll just keep enforcing it, at least for now, until an unconstitutionality of this act is upheld for the rest of us. So again, is the CTA dead in the water? This Alabama ruling is very likely the first act. So here's what could happen next. First of all, appeal. The government is likely to appeal the decision, meaning higher courts will weigh in. This could take months, even years. Next, a national injunction. If the Alabama ruling is upheld for everyone, it could lead to a national injunction. Basically, some federal judge somewhere putting the CTA on hold nationwide. Now, I think that would be some good news. Power to the people. Legislative changes. Congress might try to tweak the law to address the court's concerns and get it back on track. Now, the importance of transparency to the supporters of this law. So what's the big deal about who owns the business anyway? Supporters of this law would give the following reasons. One, fighting crime. Knowing who's behind the curtain helps the authorities track down bad actors who might be using businesses for illegal purposes. Public trust. When businesses operate in the shadows, it breeds suspicion. Transparency builds trust and shows there's nothing to hide. Fairness. If some businesses hide their ownership while others comply, it creates an uneven playing field. So is the CTA an invasion of privacy? The Alabama court also hinted the CTA might violate privacy rights. Businesses argued that revealing the ownership information could put them at risk of harassment or even violence. This is a valid concern, and the government needs to ensure proper data security, which brings us down to what can you do as a business owner? As a business owner, here's what you can do. First, stay informed. Keep an eye on legal developments related to the CTA. Check back periodically and visit the Business Guy channel for more updates. And check with your lawyer or a trusted business advisor for updates. Prepare for the future. Even if the CTA is currently on hold for some, it's a good practice to be ready to report your beneficial ownership structure if legally required later. Okay, those who advocate for transparency, tell your congressperson. Those who advocate for privacy, tell your congressperson. Let your voice be heard. Contact your representative and express your support or opposition to this act. the road ahead. The Corporate Transparency Act may be facing some roadblocks, but the government's right for transparency isn't over. This is a complex issue with the valid arguments on both sides. So we'll have to wait and see how the courts and lawmakers ultimately shape the future of beneficial ownership reporting. So thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more explainer videos and the latest legal and business issues. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the Transparency Act and how it affects you. Should businesses be required to disclose their beneficial owners? So I appreciate you joining the conversation. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed. This is The Business Guy.